Welcome to the Bookworm Bindery with Cathy-Lynn. I am in the throes of a mess. So I am working on the Fairy Junk Journal, and we'll start with what I have right here. So I'm in the midst of a lot of little projects. So we have this really cute picture. It came from a calendar from like, I don't know, 1995 or something. And so this is going to be the center of one of the signatures, but 94. But that leaves us with the backside not having some nice designs on it. When you do a calendar, if this had been a month that had a calendar on it, the calendar part would be upside down. So I like to cover this with I like to cover this with tissue paper. And so I crumple up my tissue paper, and then I kind of sort of straighten it out. And then put a nice layer of glue down. And then glue my tissue paper on. Now this one does have tear, so I'm just going to work on making sure that it is closed. Not going to worry too much about that white mark there. Now, I love this green tissue paper. It's the last of this dark green tissue paper that I have. So I chose to cover, I kind of lightly folded this paper in half so that I could see where I needed to glue. So one half of it's being done in this dark green and the other half in a turquoise. Glue, here we are. Let's get a piece of paper under it to glue on. Okay. Good. Okay, but it didn't cover that whole half. So I'm going to trim this off. I can use this along part of that edge, and the turquoise may just come over and cover part of that edge too. I don't know. Well, it is about half of it, so let's cut this in about half. So this is going to make an interesting and fun textured backdrop, which we're going to be able to cover with something, you know, do pictures of fairies, or put a pocket, or do a collage, or it's not a lot of leeway with tissue. If you get it down there, it's pretty much down. This is close. It's not going to cover it completely, but it's good. Okay. There. So I'm sure you can see that there's a nice kind of textural element to it. So now I'm going to do the turquoise side, and I'll go around and just cut off all this excess. And then I'm going to put you on pause, and I'm going to take this to the kitchen, and I'm going to do a light covering of this gold shimmer. I wish I had silver shimmer, but I don't, so I'm not going to try to use it. Okay, so here we are. Turquoise. Crumple, crumple, crumple. Crumple, crumple, crumple. Uncrumple, but don't smooth out. I have a video on this somewhere in the demonstration section, I'm pretty sure, on how to do this. Okay. So my client who has ordered this particular book is the same client that got the mermaid book that I did last year. And she said she absolutely loved watching it come together. And she said that she wanted me to do the same with this book. And I was like, okay, I can do that. All right. Mush. Now, one of the things that you'll notice, because it's pretty obvious right here, is that words didn't come through on the dark side, on the dark stuff. It just comes through on the turquoise. But by the time it's been textured with the gold, and once it's got things on it, those words, even if they're slightly visible, will not be of interest. And whatever it is that has been put over the top will just distract from all of that. Okay. So I have a little bit here. Just do a smush. Technical terms, smush. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this trimmed up and get this sprayed with gold, and I'll be right back to show you what that looks like. Okay, I am back. Here's the front side, and here is the back side. So you can see that gold just kind of adds a luster to what's going on here. This is going to take a little while to dry, so I'm setting it aside. Now, that particular picture is the center of one of the signatures. So I'm not going to work with that signature right now. I've got two finished and ready to have be sewn into the book. This book has 4 signatures. The client wanted one of lined pages. So I don't even have those printed out yet, but I figured I can get started on what I've got, and then I can get the lined pages printed, and those will get stitched in the next day, I suspect, because I'd like to go ahead and get all of these put in right away. So as a reminder, this is the book. Ta-da. And these are the inner papers. There's a pocket in the front, and there's actually 2 pockets in the back. And this is the first signature I'm putting in, and it is just an accumulation of interesting papers. Some have been coffee dyed, some of them are printed. This one is just some brown paper that I cut up. There's some things that have been inked. So, and then there's my favorite, my tracing paper, which you can do cool things with. And no signatures alike. They don't have the same kind of artwork in them. Most of them do have a piece of sheet music. They have the brown paper that's just like craft paper that I cut into paper size. They do have the tracing paper, but the printed stuff is all different. Now, not all of these pages have everything in them. I have some pockets and some tucks to put in, but the client will then take over and do the majority of the decorating and filling and exploring, etc. Okay, so let's get these put in. So I've already marked up and put the holes in the cover. I am going to be putting a ring on the top, the outside, so that a tassel or some such could be put on. But I'm going to put the other pages in first. Okay, so I've already marked them as to where the holes need to be punched. And I am going to use my Crocodile Big Bite to punch those holes. Let's get this turned over. Set that aside for the moment. Okay. Thread would be good. Okay, so we have thread, we have a needle. So this is waxed linen thread. I decided that I really wanted black so that it wouldn't show on the outer cover, you know, the spine. It's going to stand out pretty much on all of the pages inside. But I'm going to, so I've measured this 3 times for one signature. I'm going to go ahead, however, and just, whoa, I'm sorry about that. Cut a second one because I'm going to go ahead and sew in 2 signatures right now. Set that aside. This can go back over here. Okay. Okay, so this is the one I want first. This is the front. So I'm going to start. There are so many tutorials out there to teach you how to do the 3 or the 5 hole pamphlet stitch, and I highly recommend Pam at the Paper Outpost, Nick the Booksmith. Those were my first YouTube instructors, and their instructions are quite clear. So I'm not doing a tutorial on this, I'm just doing it. And of course, you can always just watch and do. It's not a problem. But if you have questions, go ahead and check that out. Okay. Sure. Okay, now I need to do a quick test to make sure that I haven't gone through thread. And I haven't. It wouldn't pull that easily if I had. Okay, so nice good pull. Just make really quick sure that this is indeed in the lineup of holes that it's supposed to be, and that I have done this in the right place. So this is a velvet, and the velvet is smooth when you run down, so I know this is the front. And therefore, okay, let's see what we've got here. Pull it in nice and tight. Right over left, left over right. Makes a knot that's square and tight. And then one more time just in case. Okay. Oh, we're leaving them. I'm going to leave them because we may need to put or want to put charms in. Okay. Now the next one is not going in the second section. This next one is going in the third. So this is going to be my third signature. Don't want to lose this. Just poke it through the blouse so that it doesn't get lost. Okay. This is offset a little bit. Not all of my papers are the same widths. I try to even them up so that they're not like even at the bottom only, but rather centered. So they're not even on the top and the bottom. They're not even on the ends. They're not even. Okay. capture all of the sheets, I hope. Keep everything right there. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to do this with tension and folds. Okay. All right, and somewhere here I have a pencil mark. There it is. Yep. This is not so much paper, and the paper isn't so thick that I couldn't have just poked it through with the needle. It's just habit. It's easy. Okay, I'm actually done with that for the moment, so let me just put it on the cart where it belongs beside me. Okay, top. Okay, so I'm going to set it this way. Now, let's get this thread. Oh, like I lost my needle. No, I stuck it in my shirt. Okay. All right. I'm just going to even it up a little bit off of screen. Sorry. So there we go. Well, this makes it a little trickier. It's kind of easier to go first, second, third, fourth, or fourth, third, second, first. That's just not the way we're doing it today. Okay, so I need this. Whoa, this is a little ungainly. Sorry, didn't really need to smack ya. Through. These have gotten a little bit out of sync. There we go. Okay, there's the first one. Here's the third one. Here's the second one, so we're good. All right, and now coming back up through the center, maybe. Okay. All right, I'm not going to fight with this anymore. That's crazy. At least I was able to come back without smacking you. All right. Getting this apparently not centered. Let's turn it sideways so that we can see. Okay. Good. All right, got through the hole. But did I puncture? I don't think so. All right, cool. Nope. Good. Okay. One on either side of this thread? Yes. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to look at the spine, just do this quick check again. So the first signature hole's thread straight. Here's the second one. No problem. Here's the third one. We're in line, and the fourth one is here. That'll be ready when we do the plain paper. But while we're at it right now, I'm going to go ahead and put the ring in the hole. You cannot see it. It's here. There's a hole centered here. And that's where this ring is going to go. And okay, turn you over. Okay. So this is centered, and because there's 4 signatures, one signature stitched here and the next one is here, so this will not be in the way. That's nice. Okay. So now we have this. Great. Okay. So while we're waiting for the second signature, which is going to go into here, to completely dry that fun gold spray, everything else is sitting there waiting. Let's just do a quick touch. Oh, that's pretty good. Maybe just fine. Okay, we're going to move this away. Set it up out of the way there. Okay, and that's actually going to take me to my third signature. And let me show you what I did with the pages. Well, you've seen this one. It's the only one that I've put this interesting backdrop on, so I'm going to let that sit there. But one of the things that I'm dealing with here is when I printed these pages, they all have a border, and my machine does not, my printer does not print borderless. So in the past I've cut this off, and that's fine, but I didn't want to do that with so many of these pages. I think there's like 5 or 6 in each signature, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I'm just coming in with ink, and I'm just inking over it. Can you still see that there was a border? Yes, you can. Will you care? Probably not. And you know, I suppose if you do, and you were to buy this particular or another journal like it from me, you could take your little nipping scissors and go through and cut these all off nicely. But I think once the ink is put on, it doesn't have the starkness. And so I've been starting off and I've just been putting color on. Then once I get all the way around, I take and kind of saturate up the little cotton pad, and I come back and I put some additional texture in, because most of these they have some semblance of texture on them because they're just already spotted. Okay. And I kind of like it because it makes it not look exactly the same all the way through. And then the other thing is that it kind of brings the dots in, making it seem a little more integrated. Plus, you know, it's just kind of fun. This one's got a lot of texture and movement into it already, so I'm not going to worry about that. But this side, let's see, do we want to do that in brown? Do that in green. I want to do that in brown, so I'm going to set it aside. I'll come back to you. Okay. Brown, brown, definitely green. This one's going to have pink. And then there's you. I don't know what I'm doing with you, so I'm not going to worry about you right now. Okay. So in this space, there was a lot of white up in here, and there just wasn't a visible line. But as I went across it anyway, because I'm going all the way around, I went ahead and just brought some green into that predominantly white section. Again, it's just a way to kind of bring it all together. That way we don't care. Oops, see, that's what happens when you scribble. You just make the whole table. And therefore the camera jiggle. There are stabilizers in it. Sometimes I notice that when I apologize and I go back and I look at it, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that jiggle. So I know there's stabilizers in cameras, and that's helpful. Videos. So if somebody apologizes when they're videoing and you're watching it, and you're like, well, I didn't notice anything. We did. Okay. Quite plain. I think I'm gonna pink that up. And pink just because I like pink. Okay. So where the other ink that I used, the fern green, was an archival ink. This is a Distress Oxide. It comes out a little darker. It's a little more intense than the Distress ink. So we have this Distress ink, and then this is the Distress Oxide. Takes a little longer for the oxide to dry because it has ink and pigment in it instead of just ink. But I do like the color. Sorry, I shouldn't be scribbling so fast. I'll slow down so you don't get sick to your stomach. It's pretty bad if you have to take anti-motion sickness pills just to watch a video. And now I'm just going through and kind of casting a hue across in some gentle swirls that really aren't going to pick up as a pattern. It's just going to soften the whole thing out so it won't be quite so stark. Okay, lovely. But while I have the pink out, let's go ahead and ink up this. This particular piece of paper was a divider for binders, you know, little tabs on the sides. And this had, I had a nice size bag of them. It's not quite as heavy as some cardstocks, but it's heavier than standard printer paper, maybe more like a presentation page. And so I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going to use them for inking stuff. I've used them for making some tags and some things that I wanted to cut out. I really like it. It's that use what you've got thing that is so prevalent among junk journalers. Because yes, it is nice to go ahead and print out new pictures and designs off of your printables or off of your print shop programs or what have you, but you can still print off on papers that are not necessarily brand new from the store. I I don't know. I think it was, I don't know if it was physics or a genetics workbook that had all been printed in-house at the college and was all printed on one side only. It was a lovely paper, a little bit bigger than a standard page, and I've got that pulled apart and almost used up. I love it. I paid a lot of money for that class, whichever class it was. And I am happy to know that that money is going to a good cause. Okay, so there's this. Those are the two pink things, so now we're going to go to the browns. So, I better put this needle away. I will want it soon, but not so soon that I can't lose it first. Okay. And so the pink that I was using in the Distressed Oxide is Victorian Velvet. It's a very soft, kind of antique pink. And then right now I'm using Vintage Photo. Just got a new ink pad. So it's nice and fresh and this is pretty dark. So once I get this done, then I'll get it put in the book. And then I can start on folding pockets and getting things put in. So those will be over the next few days. You'll get, whoa, so sorry. Over the next few days, I will have these things, get them videoed and get them, you know, put out for you to see. So I've been doing these series, putting them out on Sundays and Wednesdays. And this is Wednesday. I like to put them out around 3:15 and it's going on 4 o'clock. So it's going to go out on its Wednesday. It's just going to go out late on its Wednesday. And I will try to get the next couple filmed ahead enough that I can at least put them out on time. There we go. That looks good, I think. Okay. Oh, got a little bit of glue on. So I was using one side as the glue side and one side as the ink side, and apparently I got a fair amount of glue sticking to that. Okay, so my center is over there. And then I'm going to put this one in. And then this one, I think. I don't know. I think I must have had these in an order. And I took them out of order, so now I don't know. Okay, so we're going to do you. And then I guess we will do you. And then we'll do these. And then I think this. And this. This is fun. We have night time in the forest, and then look up in the sky. Well, at least that's how I'm seeing it. So there's that one. So these were nice long pieces of paper, so I just folded them over. This is too much. Okay. First, I'm going to turn this so that this one opens out that way. Because this is the outside edge. This is, the outside page, and it has a fold over. This was printed on legal size paper. And it was printed on legal size paper with kind of, you can hardly see it. Maybe you can't even, a light gray. I printed it, I didn't ink it. And then I folded it down